yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. Now, I have previously done a bunch of different things with the waffle stitch, so I now introduce to you the waffle stitch poncho. Woo! Absolutely lovely, really easy. Once you get going, it's only a 2-round repeat. So simple, so very easy. Now, for this piece, this was Lion brand ice cream in the big scoops. I believe this was cookies and cream. Yum. And I believe, I think it was about 2 skeins that I used for this particular piece. It's been a while since I've made it, but at any rate, I think also I think it was a size H crochet hook. Now, what I strongly suggest is that if you're not using this yarn specifically, which is okay, I would strongly suggest using a lighter weight of yarn. This is a weight of 3. A weight of 4 might be a little bit too heavy because there's a lot of yardage in this project. It's very thick. It's toasty, let me tell you. Yes, it's open on the sides, but it's toasty. It's very thick. It's got a great texture to it, as you can see. And if you have a nice colorway, it really shows it off. So I would strongly suggest, like I said, perhaps a weight of 3, maybe even thinner. Also, very simple. You can do this lovely ribbed collar, and this is where it starts actually, and it works its way down, and it's all one piece, which we like simple, don't we? So once you get the collar down, then you start into the work of the poncho, very simple. And also I figured out as far as the number of chains, the multiple of chains that you would need if you want to do different size neck openings. After that, the rest is gravy. So, without further ado, let's get started. Hello again. All right, so this is a nice close-up of what you may expect to see in your finished piece. Absolutely love it. Can't get over it. Can't help it. All right, so for today, I'm going to be using some more Lion brand ice cream. This video is not sponsored, by the way, but I use this kind of yarn all the time. And a big special thank you to one of my special subscribers that sent me this just the other day. Thank you so very much. I told you it was going to get put to good use. All right, so actually, oh, by the way, this is the colorway of Moon Mist. So pretty. Reminds me of, galaxy unicorn themed, if you will. It's so pretty. All right, so I am going to be using that yarn for today. And also, I am going to, again, be using a size H crochet hook, a 5mm hook. And as far as the number of chains, when you're first starting out with the neck opening, because I do get a lot of questions, what if I want to make it a different size? Well, I got you covered. So what I did was, with my handy dandy notebook, yes, what I did was I figured out the number of initial chains that you would need. Now, for the piece that I was wearing, I used 62, oh, my focus is lovely, isn't it? I used 62 chains, and you could have any other multiple of 6 chains. For some reason, that seems to work, so we're going with that. And basically what it boils down to is after you do the neckline, okay, and then you're getting into the waffle stitch, well, you have 2 stitches, one on opposite sides of each other, and that counts as a total of 2 stitches. And then you subtract those 2 stitches from the total. So in this case, no, I don't have my, I was about to say, I don't have my pen handy. Well, I do. All right, so if you took 62 minus 2, yeah, great ink flow, right? All right, so you got 60. 60 divided by 2 is 30. Okay, so then you would have 30 here and 30 here. okay? And then so when you're going from here to here, this one actually has 2 stitches going into it. It will make more sense later. Trust me, okay? So from this point to this point, it's gonna be a total of 32 stitches on this side and 32 stitches on this side. Now, for the sake of the tutorial, I'm only going to be doing 32 stitches, like this little guy over here. So in that case, what I'm going to do is when we get to that point, it's going to be 1 stitch here, 1 stitch here, and then 15 and 15, because 30 divided by 2 is 15. So if this makes sense, you know, so we've got 32 stitches, okay, and we will get there, all right? Trust me, all right? But this is basically a lowdown of how you would approach different sizes, because I'm not I'm not interested in doing 62 chains for, you know, this entire thing for the tutorial. I want to give you a smaller version so I can be more thorough and in depth, and also to show you that yes, it is possible to do different sizes. You know, if you have, you know, little people in your life that would also like a poncho. All right, so with that being said, let's get started. All right, so for the very beginning, round 1, if you will, all right, we're going to start, of course, by a slip knot, naturally. Now, of course, also you can use whatever hook size or yarn works for you. You know, this is not definitive. You know, it's just me going about what I'm doing. All right, so we're going to, in this case, chain 32 stitches. You can choose whichever number works for you, as long as it's a multiple of 6. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Now I realize, you know, that 32 is not divisible by 6, but looking back, okay, at my little list here, okay, it is an increment of 6. It's not divisible by 6, but it's an increment of 6. I mean, you can go even lower still, you know, just subtract 6 from 32, or add 6 to 62. So you could have 68 stitches, okay, as long as it's an increment of 6. Okay, so I recant, okay, by saying it is not definitively a multiple of 6. It's an increment of 6, okay? But, I mean, if you have a neck opening smaller than 32, I don't think they should be wearing a poncho, okay? I'm just saying. All right, so that being said, so I'm just covering my bases here. All right, so let's recount, because I think we have our 32 here. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Okay, I need 32. 31 and 32. All right, so then what we need to do is we need to join this into a ring. Now, do not twist your chain, otherwise you're going to be in a world of hurt. What you want to do is keep the chain flat, okay, and bring it around and slip stitch into that first chain. Now, I like to go underneath both loops when I'm doing this technique because I think it creates a neater edge. So I'm just doing a slip stitch like so. And then to do your first round, very, very simple, I'm going to chain up 2, and that's not going to count as our first double crochet. So chaining up 2 and then into the same stitch, going to go in with our first double crochet. Now the reason I do this, that chain 2 acts as a sort of filler, okay? So if you chained up 3 and then you went on to the next stitch, it would look loosey-goosey, but this acts as a little bit of a filler. So right now, all you need to do is go around the entire chain with, can I manage this? This is always the most tricky, going into these chains here, but I have perseverance on my side. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's not the easiest thing in the world to work in your chains sometimes, but all you have to do is do double crochets into each chain all the way around, and then going to slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet right there, okay? So just make sure that your count is correct, and also you're not counting this first chaining up of 2. Make sure that your count is correct, and then we can proceed to the ribbing for your neck. Alrighty. Okay, so I'm still on my first round, but I wanted to sort of touch base with you. So what I was doing was I started here with my chaining of 2, and then I worked my way around, and I already did 30 double crochets, and I only have 2 left, which is exactly what we want. And as you can see, my piece is, get out of the way, my piece is not twisted. Because if it were, we would have a really awkward neckline, don't you think? It would turn into a Mobius poncho. I've never heard of such a thing, but that could be a new trend. So what we're going to do is 2 more double crochets and then join with a slip stitch. But I know that doing this particular technique of crocheting in the round can be a little bit tricky. So I figured, you know what? Let's be thorough. All right, so we've got our 32 double crochets, and then just slip stitch into the top of this first double crochet, and shaboom. All right, so that is our first round, and as you can see, the color is already doing its funky thing. And so now we're going to be doing the front and back post double crochets for a couple of rounds. Now, you could completely omit this if you don't want a collar. That's fine. That is perfectly fine. You could just leave it with 1 round of double crochets. That's totally cool. I like how it looked when it was bent over and it looked all nice and full and everything. I liked that. I thought it was a nice touch, but that is totally up to you. Now, as far as how many rounds, again, that is totally up to you. You could have a big, fluffy, flouncy sort of collar and have quite a few. Now, looking at my piece, here we go. Here's my piece. I would say I did 1, 2, 3, about 4 rounds of the front and back post double crochet. Roughly speaking, you can have more. That's totally cool, but I'm going to show you how to do that now. Alrighty, so for round 2, we are going to start in on the front and back post double crochet stitches. And for those of you that are already familiar with it, well, you get a refresher for free. All right, so we're going to start by chaining up 2, 1 and 2. And again, that does not count as our first stitch, just like this chaining of 2 does not count either. It acts as a filler. So first things first, we're going to do a front post double crochet on this first double crochet. So going underneath the post, and we've got ourselves a front post. And then the next one, back post. And then front post. and then going around the back for the back post. Now, an alternative to this, if you are of a mind to do that, you could do your front post, and then instead of doing a back post, you could always just go into the double crochet as is. However, it doesn't give you the same effect. If you do the back post, it's a little bit more pronounced, like so. And then front post, and then back post. Just do this all the way around, back and forth, front and back. And so just keep doing this all the way around until you reach the end, and I'll meet back up with you. Alrighty, so I've been working my way along, footloose and fancy-free, just doing my front and back post double crochets. I just did a back post, so I need another front post and another back post. And we have come full circle, because then we have our chaining of 2 and our next front post. So what you want to do is to do a slip stitch into the top of that first front post double crochet. All right, so that is your first round of your ribbing. Now, for every subsequent round, however many rounds that is, okay, what you would do is chain up 2, and then quite simply front post into the front post, and then back post around the back post. It can be a little bit tricky to see, but it's more by feel, if that makes any sense. And then front post around the front post, back post around the back post, front post around the front post, and back post around the back post. So you would just keep doing this for as many rounds as you wish. Now, what I would strongly suggest at this point would be, before you go terribly further, I would suggest that you try this over your head to see, does this in fact fit comfortably? Now, you don't want it to be really tight. You don't want it to be loosey-goosey. You want it to be, you want it to fit, okay? But you don't want to feel constricted, nor that you are letting in, a stiff breeze. That's no fun. You want this to keep you nice and toasty-woasty. But also keep in mind that if it is on the more open side, that you can then fold it down. You can fold it in half, which will give you some extra thickness. So there is some wiggle room, okay? Keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this round, and then we are going to proceed into doing the foundation for the waffle, and then we shall proceed into the waffle itself. Okay, I know there's a lot of steps, but this makes it a lot easier if you start with the ribbing. That way you don't have to attach it later. It's one-stop shopping. All right, so I'll meet back up with you in a bit. Alrighty. All right, so back to square one, so to speak. Because when you are good and ready with the amount of ribbing for your neckline, we can then get into the foundation of the actual waffle poncho. All right, so now referring back to my handy dandy notes, let me get to the right page here, that would be nice. Okay, referring back to my notes. Okay, so for me, for the 32 stitches that we have. Like I said, we have our beginning one, and we have the far side, and we have 15 in between. So that means it's a total of 17. 15 plus 2, 17. 15 plus 2. Now this is a shared one, and this is a shared one. It will make more sense as I actually do it and show you. Now, of course, if you're doing the 62, it would be 32 and 32, because you've got 30 plus the 2, 30 plus the 2, okay? Or whichever number you decide to choose. It's totally up to you, all right? So that being said, we're going to start right in by doing a chaining up of 3. 1 and 2 and 3. Okay. Now I know that I said previously that it's like, no, we want to do, a chaining up of 2. Well, this is a little bit different. All right. So right now we're just going to be doing double crochets all the way around. So whether it's a front post or a back post, you need a double crochet. This chain 3 counts as our double crochet for this front post. So we're going to go into that next stitch, the back post, with a double crochet, and then double crochet into every stitch all the way around. Now keep in mind though that this first one is going to be our shared stitch. Okay, so this is the 1, and then we need 15 and one more. So we need a total of 17. So we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So just do a double check. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 17. Okay, so yes, in this case, it's 17, or it would be 32, if you're doing the total of 62 around. Okay, so now, like I said, this needs to be a shared stitch. So I'm going to chain 1 and then work into the same stitch, because this is a shared stitch, as you can see. So then I need a total of 17 more again, so that, well, it's all about symmetry, right? Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and that back post is 16. And then we need to do the shared one which we're going to go into that stitch right there to make 17. And then chain 1 and slip stitch into the top third chain of our first double crochet. So the symmetry worked. Haha, my calculations were correct, which is always a good feeling, don't you think? All right, so again, we have a shared stitch here and on the opposite side here, which is exactly what we want. All right, so this is the foundation for our waffle. All right, we shall proceed. Alrighty, so round 2 is essentially the first repeat round of the waffle stitch. All right, so we're going to start after doing our slip stitch in the previous round. Turn your work and into the chain 1 space, do a slip stitch and then a chaining up of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Then the next 2 double crochets, we're going to do front post double crochets. Like so. And then a regular double crochet, and then 2 front posts. And then a regular double. And we are going to do this until we reach our chain 1 space. So as you can see, it's 2 double, 1 regular, 2 double, 1 regular, 2 front, excuse me. 2 front, 1 regular, 2 front, 1 regular, 2 front, 1 regular, and then 2 front, and then a regular, and then 2 front, and then a regular, and we're almost there. Okay, I did my regular. Now I need 2 front. All right, so now we have our chain 1 space, and be sure that you don't miss it. I have in previous attempts, trust me. So we did our 2 fronts. So then into the chain 1 space, do a double, then a chain 1 and a double into that chain 1 space, and then proceed by doing 2 front posts, followed by a regular, and 2 front posts, and a regular, it's like no matter how many stitches, the repetition is the same, whether it is 32 or 62 chains initially. Well, it's the same sort of pattern. So I hope very sincerely that I have not been confusing you by the different ratios that you can use. I'm just trying to be thorough. And then 2 fronts. And then a regular. And we are just about at the end. I just need to do 2 front posts. And then into that chain space down below, do a regular double, a chain 1, and slip stitch to the top third chain of our first chain 3, our first double crochet. And come on. There we go. So just do a slip stitch right in there. So you can see we have our two front posts, and in between in that chain 1 space, our 2 doubles separated by a chain 1. And that is the end of the first row of the repeat. So on to the second. Alrighty, round 3. Okay, so again, turn your work and slip stitch into that chain 1 space. Okay, and then chain 4. Now this is going to act as a double crochet and a chain 1 space. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then into that same space, 2 double crochets. This will make more sense later. Trust me. Because we're going to have another double crochet and we're going to slip stitch in. So it will make more sense. Trust me. Okay, so now where we have what appear to be front posts, these were the regular ones, but now they're going to be front posts and then they're going to be regular ones next to them. So the first one, after doing your chaining of 4 and 2 doubles, around the first, we're going to do a front post, and then 2 regular double crochets, and then a front post, and 2 regular double crochets, and front post, 2 regular doubles, front post, 2 regular doubles, front, 2 doubles, and front, and 2 doubles, and a front. Okay, we reached the chain 1 space once again, and I have to deal with some knots here. Excuse me 1 second, I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. Well, you know what they always say, stitch happens. Okay, so we did our front and 2 doubles and then another front, and we have our chain 1 space. So in that space, we're going to do 2 doubles, chain 1, and in the same space, 2 more doubles. You see? All right, so then proceeding along with doing a front post and 2 regulars, front post, 2 regulars, and a front, 2 regulars. And this is one of those projects that once you get into the groove, you really don't have to pay much attention. You can just sort of go on autopilot, which I love those. You just get sort of lost in a little meditative zone and you can just enjoy yourself, put on a movie, enjoy it, and get something done while you do so. All right, so we're almost there. So I need to do my 2 regulars. And then around this stitch here, another front post. Now into this chain 1 space, we already have 1 double, a chain 1, and 2 doubles already in that space. Well, we just need 1 more double into that space, and then slip stitch into the top 3rd chain. It can be a little bit tricky to see, but just basically all you need to do is just not use that last chain. You're going to go into the one right before it because you need that chain 1 space. So basically that's where we're going into because we need the chain 1 space. So slip stitch into the 3rd, not the 4th. And there you go. That is round 3. Now, basically what this amounts to is you're just going to repeat rounds 2 and 3 over and over and over again until your piece is as big as you want it to be. But you know how I roll, so we're going to do row 2 once again. So let's turn back time like share. There we go. We're going to go back to round 2. Alrighty. All right, so round 2 for the repeat. All right, we are going to do a slip stitch into that chain space right there and turn the work. And start by chaining up 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Then these first 2 stitches, well, they need to be front post stitches. So do 2 front posts. There we go. And then a regular stitch, what looks like a back post. No, we're going to do a regular stitch into that stitch. And then 2 front posts. And then a regular. 2 front posts. And a regular. 2 fronts. 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 And a regular. And we have reached our chain 1 space. So I still need to do 2 front post stitches. And then into the chain 1 space, a double crochet, chain 1, and into that same space, another double crochet. Okay. And then proceeding along the other side, 2 fronts, and a regular, 2 fronts, and a regular. You know, it's very, very, very easy to get into that groove. And that is one of the things that I really do like about this stitch. Now, in spite of the fact that it is a yarn hog, okay? And you are going to need probably more yarn than you would think that you would. It's very simple. It's got an awesome texture. And for those of you that ask, how much yarn do I need? Well, my suggestion always is buy more than you think you're going to need and hang on to your receipt. And if you don't end up using it, well, return it, especially if the yarn has a dye lot. Me, on the other hand, well, I don't end up returning it. I end up adding it to my rather exorbitant stash. All right, so I'm almost at the end here, so I need to do 2 front posts. And then into that chain 1 space, do a double, a chain 1, and then slip stitch to the top 3rd chain of our first double crochet, like so. And there you go. That's the end of round 2 for the repeat. All right, one more round for the repeat, and then I think we got it. All right. Alrighty, so last but not least, round 3 for the repeat. All right, so I just finished the last round by doing a slip stitch. So we're going to turn the work and into the chain 1 space, do a slip stitch, chain up 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then into that chain 1 space, 2 doubles. All right, so we have a double, a chain 1, and 2 doubles. And now we need to do a front post and 2 regulars, all the way until we reach the chain 1 space. So front post and 2 doubles, and a front post and 2 doubles. Now, really, I would say the only kind of yarn that as far as color is concerned, that I would really not recommend would be a variegated with a very short colorway, where the colors are like, a couple of inches, like, all right, 2 inches of one color, 2 inches of another color. It would look really, really busy, and you would lose the texture. With this yarn, at least you have, like a foot or 2 of each color. So, I mean, this is gorgeous. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is gorgeous. I mean, you got some really cool colorways going on here. So, just need to do my front and then 2 regulars. I know I digress a lot. I know, but I'm just trying to impart some of my personal tastes, because, I mean, you're going through all of this work and you're creating such a beautiful texture. If your color is screaming all these different colors every, inch or 2, and each of these blocks is like a different color, it's going to be very distracting, and it's going to take away from the texture. So I got my 2 regulars, and then see, we're almost at the chain 1 space. So do another front, and then 2 regulars, and last but not least, we have a front, and then into the space, 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles. Okay, and then we proceed in the same fashion until we reach the final space. So do a front post and then 2 regulars, and front, and 2 regulars, and a front, 2 regulars, and a front, and 2 regulars, another front, 2 regs, front, 2 regular doubles, front, 2 doubles. Oh, there we go. And we're almost there. And a front, and then 2 regulars. Pull out a little bit more yarn. Okay, and then last but not least, this one down here needs to be a front post. And then into that same space, we need 1 more double crochet, and then slip stitch into the 3rd chain of that first double that we did, leaving alone that one because we need that chain 1. And then you can slip stitch into the chain 1 space, and there you go. And of course, as your piece progresses, this line, this is the join, if you will, where we're going back and forth, back and forth. This is the join. So this is where your color change is going to be obvious. So this right here would be the front of your piece. This alone is gorgeous. I'm loving it. Dang. Okay. And then what you would do is you would fold this down like so for your little collar. It's nice and squishy. Gotta love the squoosh. All right. So basically, that is how you would go about making yourself a waffle poncho. Yes, very exciting. And so again, to recap, you can ultimately use any of these numbers. You can go higher, you can go lower, just as long as you keep in mind to add or subtract 6. Okay, so, I mean, I did 32 for what we were working on for this example. You can go up to 62. You can do, 68. You can go to, 84, sorry, 74, etc., etc. Just keep in mind that when you are ready to do the actual waffling stitches, okay, that you need to keep in mind that on either side, you are sharing stitches. I mean, this is a total of 32, but you have a shared one and a shared one. So it's a total of 17, and then a total of 17. But this one and this one are shared, okay? Just like if you were doing a total of 62, it's 32 and 32, okay? But this one and this one are shared, okay? So that's how the math actually works, all right? So keep these in mind, and I hope it works for you, regardless of what size neckline you're going for. But as far as the size of the finished piece, well, just keep stitching away, repeating rows 2 and 3 as long as you need to, and I hope you like it. And if you like this tutorial, please give a little thumbs up down below, because you know I appreciate your appreciation, and every little bit helps. Yes, indeed. And you know, yeah, I hope you liked it. So please, please hit the like button. Please subscribe for more goodies, whether it's crocheting, knitting, recently spinning yarn, audiobook narration. Also, please do check out my merchandise at Teespring, link in the description box down below, and of course my Etsy store and my YouTube channel, Fiber Spider Games, for video game playthrough and commentary. It's a lot of fun, and the comments lately have been most appreciated and helpful. Thank you so very much. So until next time, I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, and above all, stay stitching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.